What is the point of that paneer cheese? What is the question regarding the paneer? Some people say that the only healthy dairy. Oh, a healthy dairy food. Okay. Paneer cheese and ghee. Okay. I'm just wondering whether this is true, whether you would say this as well, or whether. No, any dairy food is healthy. Yogurt, butter, makan, all this is healthy. Okay. Yes, because milk is considered to be like nectar. Milk is the best food, actually. It's the best, nutrient because it contains gold. Has a lot of amount of gold inside. And gold is such a mineral that we need a lot. Gold is required for so many important synapses. You understand synapses? Mm-hmm. Brains connections and, like neurons, interactions, how to think better, So the milk, when it is drank properly, in the proper temperature, add with the proper spices like that, it nourishes the brain's tissues. It's very good for memory, very good for those who are studying, those who are also doing yoga, because milk is the sattvic food. Is the most sattvic food is milk, because the cow is a complete sattvic being, animal, complete sattvic. So if you are around the cows, you feel so peaceful, right? When you go to the cow shed, you feel so peaceful. Even the cow dung smell, it's so, sweet and so nice. You want just to be there, You want to just spend your day there in a cow shed. So I had opportunity when I grew up. My family, they had a big farm, and we had a lot of cows and things. And I used to go every morning with my cup to have the fresh cow's milk. I just put some, chocolate and some sugar, and then have hot, fresh milk and drinking like that. So this is very, very sattvic animals. It is also told that if you embrace a calf, a cow's baby, if you embrace a calf for 10 minutes, your whole aura will become totally harmonized. If you have any defects, any energetic problem, the energy of the calf also adjusts that a lot. They're very powerful animals. But you must understand one thing. There is a distinction between the Indian cow and the European cow. How do you know how to distinguish them? Physically looking. More natural. Indian cows look more like their ancestors. European cows look kind of getting bred to be thicker and heavier. Yeah, it's like that. There are three aspects. The first aspect is the hump on the back, okay, of the Indian cow. The Western cow has no hump, okay. In that hump, there is one meridian, one nadi. Meridian nadi, it's like an energetic channel. That is called Surya Ketu Nadi. And that Nadi produces gold. So then the gold goes in the milk. Because cow eat grasses. So from that grass, cow's body can produce gold. So then also the, what to say? They have on their throats, they have like a long type of skin, like a hanging skin. I don't know how to say in English. In Portuguese, it's papada, we say. Yeah. Western cows, they have a flat neck, a flat throat. They don't have this excess of skin hanging. And then the hips, means the ending part of the hips of the Indian cow is like this. It goes up and then goes down. But the European cow is completely like this, their hips and their back. Okay, there is no difference between hip and back. It goes all the way straight, then comes the tail like that. So by that you identify the Indian cow, what we call the Vedic cow. This Vedic cow comes from the transcendental cow named Surabhi. Surabhi is the divine cow. These divine cows, they are called Kamadhenus. Kamadhenus means the wish-fulfilling cows. They do not only provide milk, but they can fulfill any desire that you want. Just like the wish-fulfilling jam or Aladdin's, lamp, anything like that. These cows, they can also do like this. These are the original cows, like the cows that Krishna grazes. These are the cows that Krishna grazes, spiritual cows. The cows that we see nowadays in Kali Yuga, they are like the duplicate types of cows. They are not original cows like. So in this way, due to all these differences, the cow's milk from the Indian cow, it was named A2, has the label A2. And the European cow is the A1 milk, right? So the A1 milk, it is actually very allergenic because there is an imbalance of the casein, that was one type of protein in the milk, that causes, allergenic reactions. So that's why in the West, we found this, increasing of milk intolerance, right? Because that cow is actually not good, actually. So that milk, it might not be good for all of you. So that milk is acid, that can create cancer, that can create digestive problems, and then so many other things, right? But the original milk of the Indian cow, that milk is completely balanced in the casein, also lactose. Therefore, in India, we never heard about milk intolerance. We never heard about allergies. We never heard about this. We are drinking milk there for millions of years. Of course, some people, like in a rare, condition, they have some difficulties for digesting milk, but this is a personal thing. That person has some digestive issues because milk is heavy for digestion. That's a fact. And especially when you don't mix with other proper things to help that digestion, can be heavy. That's a fact. But that can help in a very isolated cases, not like a epidemic, like we have in the West. I mean, 70%, 60% of the people, almost half, is like, intolerant to milk. It's increasing, every time. So in this way, that's the first consideration that I want to share with you. So therefore, we should never consider that milk itself is like a villain. Milk is not bad by itself. It depends on so many other elements and causes that milk can be bad. As anything can be bad. If I drink too much water, I will get some type of reaction. If I eat too much rice, I will get another reaction. So everything can be bad according to your capacity, your digestive system, Ayurveda says that you are healthy when you can digest anything. If your digestion is good, you can eat whatever and you just burn it down without causing any type of toxins, creating ama and the mucus, anything like that. And you'll be healthy. But the problem is that people's lifestyle is changing. So therefore, a lot of digestive issues are there. Now food is much easier to get, so people eating more. So they are like overloading their digestive system as well. And so many types of, artificial things. And so all these things, not more fresh food. So all these things are like cooling down the fire of digestion. And that creates problems, right? But I have no problem. For example, I drink milk like my whole life a lot, and milk products also. But one thing I do avoid is that long life package of milk, because that is no longer milk. That is no longer milk, okay? So it's obvious for our health, we should also be concerned about things. But other products which are coming from pure milk, then no issue. Now, even I take also milk from the European cow. I don't have any type of problem with that. So now let us combine this question with the other one. regarding the veganism. You see, veganism, it is somehow necessary for some type of people who are beginning to understand the cruelty and the exploitation, okay, of the world. But veganism has also many extreme points, many extreme considerations. If you go for the orthodox veganism, they believe that you cannot take any type of service from any animal because it is like exploitation. So you cannot use a ox to plow the earth, the field. You cannot ride a horse, for example. You cannot have a pet, because this is all type of exploitation. But from the spiritual perspective, what I can tell you is that the logic is different. How do we evolve? How do we evolve in spiritual way? Is when you incarnate from one species to another, gradually coming to a more developed type of consciousness up to the human body. So only in the human body you can have the full consciousness and you can perform religion. You can only be conscious about the world around you and the creator of this world, and to have love and devotion for everything only in the human consciousness, right? So that makes us human beings much responsible for helping the other species to also come to the point of incarnating as a humans. And how that works? That works in a service chain. So the one you serve is the one you become. This is the way. So we help the cows by taking their milk and we offer to Krishna. So we are giving the spiritual benefit to that cow. We take the honey from the bees, we offer to Krishna, we are giving that benefit directly to the bees. So we are helping those animals with the good thing that they produce to advance spiritually. So by that act, all those bees and those cows, they will take birth as humans. And then they will be able to express their devotion to God, and then they will be able to come out of the cycle of samsara, and then they will become completely liberated, and they will achieve the spiritual perfection, going to the abode of God. That's the purpose of life. But the veganism, it is a type of materialistic movement. It is not a spiritual movement. It deals with the pain of others, but in a very materialistic way. Why? Because it does not take into consideration that those animals, they need to serve the human society. Because only then they can become humans. And by becoming human, you can fulfill the purpose of life. That is to serve God. That is yoga. That is bhakti, right? In a animal body, you cannot do that. So humans, they have a big responsibility to organize this world in such a way to put everyone and everything working for God. God is in the center. So everything else has to be there. So who has priority for living in this world? The human beings. I might say something that sounds politically incorrect by saying that, for example, people are trying to save the turtles, for example. But the priority is to save humans. Humans are the ones who are on the top of the pyramid of evolution. So whatever might happen to other species, it has to be always in the service of man, the service of humans. But of course, we don't allow each and every type of cruelty, because we are speaking from the perspective of the Vedic society, not of the common society. The common society, there is slaughtering everyone and killing everyone. That's not the type of relationship that we want to establish. That should be condemned. But from our perspective, humans are on top and humans should be served by all the other species, including vegetables, trees, everything. When we take the fruits from the trees or the vegetables we offer to Krishna, we benefit those living entities. When you pluck a flower from a creeper, you offer to Krishna, that Sukriti goes to the creeper. So this is how we make this flow of reincarnation goes to the proper way, to the proper chain towards Krishna, right? So I do believe that veganism is good for some people. I definitely believe it's better to have all of them vegan than carnivores. I can't, disagree with that. But nevertheless, I think they should, after some time, come to a deeper understanding of life. Because I'll tell you one thing. As I told, the purpose of life is to offer everything to Krishna's service. So even if you have the best food, organic, biodynamic, self-sustainable, everything in the proper chain of production without exploitation, anyhow, if you do not offer to Krishna, there is sin in that. There is karma in that food. That food is not pure in the true sense. But even if you take food from the exploitation chain and you offer to Krishna, that food will be completely pure and free from sins and karmas, and then you can take it. And that comes another, controversy. Should we, as a devotees, buy the cheese or the milk which is being produced in those, farms that kill cows? And my Gurudev answered that question, and Srila Prabhupada also answered that question. And they said, yes, we must. Wow, but you are supporting then that business. No, we're not supporting. We are actually stopping that business. How are you stopping this business? Yes, because it's a little bit complicated, but I will try to convey this message. The cows are not innocent. The cows which are being slaughtered, they're not innocent entities. We do not agree with this, of course. But if that happens, if that is happening out of anyone's control, it means those cows, they have that karma. In the previous lives, they were people that killed cows. Now they have to pay off that karma. So we are aware of this. So that's the first thing. We don't consider that anyone is innocent in this world. Not the cows, not the animals, not the Native Americans, not the Native Brazilians, not the Africans who are enslaved. No one is innocent. And that is a very important, mature, understanding that we must have. Because if you say that there is anyone innocent, then you say that God does not exist. Because God exists, and there is the law of karma. Everyone is collecting what he did in the past. And that law is complete justice and infallible. Because God is harmonizing, God is controlling that, right? So with that in mind, we have to see, how can I make that cow come out of the cycle of birth and death and not be again coming, in this type of karma of being slaughtered? And then, next life, she wants to take revenge, and then she again will become a human being, and again she will slaughter a cow. Then you go endlessly like this. So how to stop this? Only if you give that soul which is born in there, Sukriti. Sukriti means spiritual merit, spiritual power to come out of that cycle and go towards bhakti, towards devotion. That's the only way. And you can only do that if you offer that milk to Krishna. So actually, if you consider in terms of percentage, we Vaishnavas are 0.001% of the market. I mean, how much we represent in any market in this world, so that market does not exist because we buy this milk. This market exists because we have 99% of the people who are maintaining this. But when we buy and when we offer, we are actually ending this by the spiritual action, by the spiritual benefit that we are giving to those cows. So this deep understanding is that the vegans are lacking. They can't go so deep like this. They see things only in a materialistic way. Because veganism is a type of Marxism, remodeled, little more polished Marxism. Marx told that society is based on a fight between the classes, like bourgeois and the workers. They're always in conflict. So what they did, the vegans, they extended that to the animal kingdom. And they say, we are exploiting the animals also exploiting this, like this, like this. But life is not based only on that. Life is based on karma. And karma is a spiritual law. God made that, right? So in this way, we have to understand that, look, why I cannot have a friendship with a horse? I can also make friendship with a horse. Horse wants to put me on his back and carry me. He's happy by that. But vegans, they lost that. They don't allow this. They see this were exploiting the horse. All right, I agree. If the horse is taken to the circus and being, whipped and, by doing some tricks, I'm totally against that. This is exploitation. But living beings, they're free to love each other and have relationships and friendships. There is no, any problem in that. But vegans, they are like very much, strict with all these things because they want to stop all types of exploitation. That is a type of leftist, Marxist, thought that has also permeated this field. It is also materialistic understanding. They can't go deeper. So what makes someone rich and someone poor is not the rich person who is holding the money. No, it's because of his karma. In previous lives, he was pious, he did charity, he shared his wealth, he did good for others, and as a result, he became richer. That's the law of life. Like yesterday, Didi was sharing with me how Prem Prajan Prabhu used to come to these Christian sites in Europe and tell them, look, Europe has become so rich and so developed because they got the Sukriti, inherit the Sukriti, the spiritual merit and power of the previous sages, the previous saints who were living here. And now because they are not keeping that same standard, they're just enjoying that fruit, now again Europe is falling apart. So everything goes like that. So the more you share, the more you serve, the more you get. If someone has born poor, because in previous life he was a miser, he didn't want to share, he spent wrongly his money, so God now punished him. Why give money to this person's hand again? He's not, doing proper. Then I'm taking this money out from him. So there are many calculations. There's a lot of mathematics behind this karma thing. So if you do certain things, you get good. If you do certain things, you don't get good. Even though if you have a good intention, but that doesn't matter, so well. So in this way, this is what we see. This is how we see, all this history about veganism and vegetarianism and etc. So for us, it is a matter that if you offer to Krishna, you clear the whole karmic story, and you are eating a very pure spiritual food, right? But even if you have the purest food, in the best way produced, and you don't offer to Krishna, you are eating garbage, full of sins and reactions, and that's not going to help you spiritually. You might get some physical health, but spiritually you are still in the same position, right? I hope that clarifies your questions.